it's
No,
not
but
a
David,
game.
I understand it.
There
You're-
must
you're-
be
you're
some
sort of-
people.
David, and I don't say this in an ill-spirited way at all. Just getting to the truth of it, you are like dripping with the viscosity of sanctimony as you ask this question.
No,
to
that's
then-
What's going on, you guys? Today we have David Pakman confronting Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek is not wanting to give a solid answer, and David keeps on pressing him. Let's see what happens.
It's a system. And I think it goes back to the way the government's run. I think the people who we elect to run the government are not the ones running the government. I don't think Joe Biden is really making most of the policy decisions that come out of the executive branch of the government. I really don't.
But give an
I think
example of someone who's making the decisions. I know you can't, it's not one person, but there must be
it's
a group.
not one person. Well, I'm resisting the premise, David. It is a machine. That is the Leviathan. I mean,
Who runs the
this
machine?
is the apparatus. It's the wrong frame. That's the whole point, David.
Who
is
built
that-
the machine?
Well, I think it's been built over the years from decades of purposeful loss of accountability. I think it was built by people who were elected into office that did not want to actually bear the accountability for their actions, and so quietly devolved power, first from Congress to three-letter agencies, from three-letter agencies to a managerial class that pervades the public and private sector alike. You don't have to take it from what you will see as a crazy Republican candidate, far right or whatever you want to label me on your show. Michael Lind has written about this in a lucid manner. I think that there's a horizontal managerial class that pervades the public, private, and intermediate sectors in the United States that's wielding the decisions.
I just think it would
most
put
decisions
a
that
lot
matter.
of texture to it if you were able to say, Hillary's
Susan
in the
Rice,
class,
you want
or
me to talk about Susan Rice. I mean, you can give examples of the people
Nancy
who have been-
Pelosi's husband, or Ellen DeGeneres, or
But that's not my view, and I understand the way the game is played. To then
It's not a game. I'm just curious
but
who
a
it
game,
is.
David. It's fine. I understand it. I'm having fun with it.
No,
Is
but
that-
it's
no,
not
but
a
David,
game.
I understand it.
There
You're-
must
you're-
be
you're
some
sort of-
people.
David, and I don't say this in an ill-spirited way at all. Just getting to the truth of it, you are like dripping with the viscosity of sanctimony as you ask this question.
No,
to
that's
then
an
be
ad
able to
hominem, Vivek.
caricature.
That's
It's not
unfair.
an
I
ad
think you
hominem.
don't
I'm
want to
saying it-
answer the
I'm
question.
saying-
That's
no,
to
I'm
attack
saying that
me. It's an
there's-
obvious
there's-
question. If there's
It's
a
not an obvious
machine and a
question. I'm saying that there's a
managerial
machine.
class,
It's a machine.
someone
It's a
must be involved. There
But
must be
David,
someone.
That's your assertion, David, and I think that my whole premise is that I think this is true in both parties, but it's particularly true in the modern Democratic Party. I don't think Joe Biden has a
What a squirmer. We see that Vivek is not wanting to answer any of these questions. He is wanting to dodge these questions. David Pakman is going to continue to needle in on who is it? Who is it, Vivek Ramaswamy? If you're saying that there is if you're saying that there is a machine, who is behind the machine, Vivek? And Vivek's not going to answer. David Pakman is going to continue to find out and needle in on who it is. We can see that Vivek is not wanting to answer.
choice in the matter of whether he's the nominee or not.
You
I
can
think that
keep
there's a
repeating that, and
range
you
of
can do ad
actors
hominems,
in
but
the
you're not
Democratic
really
Party.
answering.
David, and for you to sort of now claim victim and claim ad hominem.
No, I'm not a
talking about
victim.
particular
I'm fine.
game
I'm a
that
big
you're
boy.
playing,
I'm a big boy.
actually. You're
I'm a big
Well,
boy.
of course you are, and so I'm treating you like one.
Yeah.
And so I think the viscosity of the questioning is basically resisting the premise of the core point that I'm sharing with you, which is that it is not one puppet master that's an individual.
I agree.
It is a managerial machine that in the Democratic Party and the Democratic establishment, and I think it exists in the Republican establishment too, is designed to crush the will of everyday citizens and to decide that this is who will be served. Up to you to digest. You're force-fed who you get. I think this is why the Biden documents case. Why don't you hear much about that right now? Why don't you, the open-ended investigation of Hunter Biden? I think these are levers that if Joe Biden tries to act like an agent and say when their time of deciding that he's not the nominee, well, I think that's when you're going to see those investigations then pick up steam to say that, well, you're not getting out of the way. We're going to get you out of the way. I think that is the Leviathan. It is not an individual. It's not individual action. It is collective
But I'm not
action.
claiming it's an
That's the
individual.
premise.
I mean, listen, I think ultimately the audience can evaluate. When I say give me anyone, and you say my questions are when you say my questions are viscous,
one of hundreds of people, the Susan Rices of the world, sure, fit in that machine, but it's not one puppet master.
People
behind
like
the scene.
Susan Rice.
Yes,
people like
exactly.
Susan Rice.
People of that
All right,
class, absolutely.
that's an answer. That could have been the first thing. I mean, I don't know why my questions are viscous.
But I've played this game enough to know to say that Vivek thinks Susan Rice is the puppet master behind.
No,
the
I'm
scenes.
not saying
one
that.
person.
I
It's
have
part of
no
the machine.
interest in saying that you said that. I just wanted to feel. I just was like, what sorts of people are you
Well, there
thinking
you got
about?
answer. There you go.
Whatever games others might play, I'm certainly not playing with you. I'm just curious who you're referring to, and people can judge it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people have an innate understanding that.
So there we have it. We actually have Vivek giving an answer at this point, which is great. I'm glad David Pakman was able to get an answer out of Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek seems a little bit paranoid. He doesn't want to come across as a crazy conspiracist, someone who's just saying, oh, it's one puppet master who's running the world. He doesn't want to get headlined or clipped or anything of that matter, which is understandable. But it still doesn't, it doesn't call for all the combativeness that Vivek Ramaswamy has. David Pakman is able to maybe, get his defenses down and get an honest conversation out of Vivek Ramaswamy, which is great. Let's keep on going.
The people who are the politicians pretending to make those decisions, they're not really the ones making those decisions today. And I think the more clearly we see that, the more clearly we understand the work we have cut out ahead of us to reform a broken system. I'll give you other examples too while we're at it. See, now that you sort of clarified where you are on which premise you're asking about, I think the donor class is part of this as well. I think there's a lot of people who in the Democratic Party, you're told that the Democratic Party stands for one person, one vote.
Right.
Well, I don't think so. Not so clearly. I think that the people who are writing multi-million-dollar checks, even though they say you can only give $3,300 to Joe Biden,
right?
Why is he flying to Greenwich, Connecticut for $25,000 or $50,000 a plate dinners?
And this applies to Harlan Crow and the Koch brothers too, right?
I think it pervades both parties.
Okay, just making sure.
I've been as critical about this in the Republic, but you asked a question about the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
I'm against the influence of mega money in politics, period. But
I'm with you.
This is when you get to the reality of what that machine looks like. These are inputs into that machine. People who have lived in high levels but not politically accountable levels of the administrative state that still have the dirty secrets that they're able to use as levers for the people who actually are in power, to the mega donor class that provides the mother's milk that is modern politics in both parties. Yes, I think that is all part of the machine that decides who and who isn't part of eligible to wield power.
All right, Vivek Ramaswamy, I think this is the first time ever that the word viscous has been used as an adjective to describe me, and for that, we will certainly make a note in the show archives. Listen, Vivek.
So there you have it, guys. We have David Pakman really getting some great answers out of Vivek Ramaswamy. It's interesting that Vivek is saying that he's not a big fan of mega money putting their hands on politics, but he seems to be completely aligned with Elon Musk now, and he wants to, they seem to be best buddies. I wonder what David Pakman would have to say about that, because I believe that Vivek and Elon are sort of conspiring together to put their own ideas into everything. And I believe that he could easily get swayed by Elon. They may have some similarities in the base ideas, but I believe that maybe later on, Elon may get him to get out of his comfort zone. And that's how it starts. That's exactly how it starts. I believe that's why conversations like this is great. David Pakman is a great journalist in this manner. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's another day in the progressive way.